tonight on Elon Local News.
An ongoing investigation on East Haggard Avenue sparks concerns for students living nearby.
One woman is coming to Elon tonight to share her story and why hazing is harmful.
With all the attention on Elon's ducks, we break down the do's and don'ts of feeding them.
Those stories and more.
Elon Local News starts now.
Live from the Jane and Brian Williams studio at Elon University School of Communications, you're watching Elon Local News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Margaret Faust.
And I'm Annemarie Bonner. Welcome to Elon Local News.
An investigation is still underway today following a shooting on Saturday night on East Haggard Avenue. It happened near the intersection of University Drive and West Webb Avenue. Town of Elon police say the shooting was between two men and there is no suspect at large. One of the victims has been released from the hospital. The other is in stable condition and receiving medical treatment. Town of Elon Police Chief Kelly Blackwelder told Elon News Network the two men are not students. Elon senior Maria Torres Monteverde lives off campus near the location of the shooting. She says she was surprised there was no e-alert sent to students.
It was a shock to me, especially, as an international student, these things, they do happen abroad, but not as often as they do in the US. So that's for sure concerning.
If you have any information, you can contact the police department at 336-584-1301 or Alamance Countywide Crime Stoppers at 336-229-7100.
An ongoing investigation is also continuing today in Orange County after the bodies of two teenagers were found yesterday, according to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. The teenagers were also reported missing yesterday. One of the teenagers was Devin Clark, a student at Eastern Alamance High School in Mebane. Alamance Burlington School System spokesman Les Atkins says additional counselors from across the district will be at the school. He wrote that the loss of a student is a difficult and challenging situation that generates a high level of anxiety and distress. He wrote to Elon News Network that hearts were heavy today as the system learned about the death of the student. The community sends condolences to the student's family and friends at this time. Atkins says students gathered before school this morning on the football field of the high school. No other plans for a memorial service are known at this time.
The grand state funeral was held today for Queen Elizabeth II. Hundreds of thousands of people gathered in London to pay their respects and view the funeral procession. The Queen's body and coffin lay in state at Westminster Hall for the last week before being lowered into the royal vault. The Queen was buried alongside her husband, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, who passed away in 2021. The Queen died on September 8 at the age of 96.
Election Day is just under 50 days away, and Elon News Network is committed to informing you on the issues for this year's local and state races. One of the races we're watching is the North Carolina U.S. Senate race. Polls show that it's an even toss-up between the two candidates, and it's one of the most competitive Senate races in the nation. Democratic nominee Sherry Beasley most recently served as the Chief Justice for the North Carolina Supreme Court. Republican nominee Ted Budd has served as a congressman for the 13th District, which contains Alamance County since 2017. Beasley is focused on reforming the criminal justice system and strengthening public safety. She also wants to expand access to quality, affordable health care and public funding for early childhood education. Budd is also focused on creating jobs, but wants to reduce inflation. He also wants Americans to have access to health care that works for them. Budd believes parents should be in control of their children's education. The two have agreed to a televised debate in Raleigh on October 7th. Early voting runs from October 20th to November 5th in North Carolina. The general election will be held on November 8th.
Hispanic Heritage Month celebrations are already happening on Elon's campus. El Centro kicked off the month with a 3-hour celebration of culture featuring traditional dance groups, food, and face painting. Hispanic Heritage Week began in 1968 by former U.S. President Lyndon Johnson. It was designed to celebrate the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens with ancestors who came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. 20 years later, the week expanded to a full 30-day period from September 15th to October 15th. Festivities continue this week with a themed college coffee tomorrow morning in the Academic Pavilion. A full list of programming can be found on our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
After the confusion surrounding Otis the Duck's apparent death, Elon Sustainability wants to remind community members of the do's and don'ts of duck feeding. Our Fiona McAllister joins us live from Lake Mary now.
Thanks, Margaret and Annemarie. I'm here at the home of Elon's Ducks, Lake Mary now. I spoke with one of our Elon Eco representatives, Hannah Miller, and she says to keep things simple. A natural diet works best for the ducks. Miller says they should eat foods in small pieces. Fruits, vegetables, corn, rice, and seeds are all great to feed the ducks. Miller says you should avoid feeding the ducks processed human food or anything that has been seasoned. She says bread is not a good option. If you want to feed the ducks, there's ways to do it without spending money. Miller also says the ducks are omnivores.
If you're not looking to spend money on the ducks and you just want to grab stuff in the dining hall to give them, a lot of times the yogurt bars will have seeds and that kind of stuff out. You can definitely grab rice. McEwen, for instance, has that Mediterranean section a lot of times. I feel like there's usually some plain corn there. But yeah, I would just stick to really simple stuff, really small stuff that kind of mimics what they can find around their natural habitat.
Miller also says the ducks are omnivores. They get most of their diets from plants, insects, and small fish surrounding the lake. If you're not sure what to feed the ducks, Miller says it's as easy as pulling out your phone and looking it up on the internet. She says you should also be careful of feeding the ducks with your hand because they can bite. And if you give them food, they'll hang around because they'll expect you to have more. The best thing to do is scatter the food around the surrounding grass. Live from Lake Marianelle, I'm Fiona McAllister. Back to you in the studio.
Fiona McAllister, thank you so much. More information on the ducks is available on our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
One Gibsonville business is making the move from Greensboro and celebrating its first year of business.
For the break.
Today is the first day of National Hazing Prevention Week. An anti-hazing speaker is addressing Greek life, club athletes, and a cappella singers tonight about the dangers of hazing. Cindy Hips plans to share her personal connection to hazing. She lost her son Tucker to a suspected hazing incident at Clemson University in 2014. Tucker was a part of the Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity. Elon's chapter of Sigma Phi Epsilon is currently on probation for hazing. Hips says she hopes her talk tonight will encourage students to look out for one another.
So take care of each other. People want you to have fun. I want you to have fun. College is a great experience. I remember my college days. We had a great time, but we never left someone, and we certainly never lost someone.
At least 75% of each Greek organization is required to attend this event.
Elon sophomore Ethan Kirby went through the recruitment process and joined Beta Theta Pi. He says after seeing his friends join fraternities last spring, he wanted to do the same.
I really wanted to meet a new group of guys that I feel like I could connect with and feel like they could connect with me. And a few of my friends rushed last semester and they really enjoyed it and they love the ones that they're in right now, so I kind of wanted to do that as well.
Elon Jr. Chase Garay is the Vice President of Recruitment for the Interfraternity Council. He says the council added new activities for potential new members going through the process this fall.
We did 10 days this year from the 8th to the 18th. We added an extra open house day, an extra brotherhood event day, and an extra event at the beginning of the week called a meet and greet that we did at Lakeside Plaza, which was an informal version of our standard orientation.
Men interested in joining a fraternity can do so this February during the spring recruitment process.
The first female-owned tattoo shop in Gibsonville is celebrating 1.5 years of being open for business. Owners Laura Murphy and Annie Bella opened Frozen Pines Tattoo in March of 2021 and say the decision to open their own studio was one of the best decisions of their lives. The pair first met while working at a parlor in Greensboro. The two bonded over music from the band Lord Huron. The shop is named after one of the band's songs that Murphy says represents the pair's journey to this point.
Frozen Pines is all about self-discovery and, challenging yourself to chase after those dreams and to not, sit and be stagnant while everybody else is moving forward and kind of, chasing after what their dreams are and, really just taking that chance.
When the pair first announced their move, they say their clients were supportive, including Art Adame. He has over 15 tattoos. Adame says he was very excited when the pair announced their new space and was more than happy to follow them from Greensboro to Gibsonville.
But this one is just more welcoming. It's you come in and they make you feel at home. They talk you through the tattoo. And it's something that they just, comforting is not the word, but it's kind of just relax. It's, you're gonna have a good time.
For more information about the studio, you can visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
Joining us now for a live look at the weather this week is our Joshua Galaski outside for us under the oaks.
Joshua, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. This week's weather forecast is rather hot and sunny, with today being no exception. Kicking off the week with weather in the high 80s and low 90s until we get a little break on Friday with a 74-degree day. It doesn't stay long though, as the temperatures kick back up to the high 70s for the weekend. It's definitely shorts weather out there, and if you plan on attending or participating in any outdoor activities, do wear and dress accordingly. Drink lots of water and stay hydrated and stay in the shade. I'm Joshua Galaski, and back to the studio.
Joshua Galaski live under the oaks for us this evening.
Thank you so much.
Football made its way back to Rhodes Stadium. We'll hear from fans who started tailgating before sunrise.
Elon football stays in the winning column. What happened in the final seconds to get it there?
Joining us live with a look at the sights, sounds, and plays from Elon's football home opener is our sports director, Mason Willett.
Mason, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Margaret and Annemarie. This weekend's home opening football game started off with a tailgate on Bank of America Drive, and some Elon community members arrived 12 hours before kickoff. Members of the Elon 7 a.m. tailgate crew arrive at the time for every home game. Whether it's noon or night, David Oakley is a part of the crew and does a lot of the cooking. He says the crew really wanted a nighttime game, and we're happy to get one.
It's usually 100 degrees, so this is nice. It's 80-degree weather, Saturday night football, you can't get anything better than that.
The crew considers themselves die-hard Elon fans, and now the university has landed them tailgate in a special spot as a way to build community.
These tickets that we're sitting in usually were tickets for people invited to the President's Box, and they said, look, we want to create an atmosphere here. So they looked at people that tailgated over in that parking lot, people that tailgated in this parking lot, which was all of us, and brought us all together.
The 7 a.m. tailgate crew is looking to try a lot of new things this year. They're hoping to have a large fish fry at one of the home games this season. Women's softball and men's tennis are practicing this week with newfound motivation. Over the weekend, 4 former Elon athletes were inducted into the Elon Athletics Hall of Fame. Our Sydney Spencer talked to current athletes about what they took away from the ceremony.
Elon senior and softball player Claudia Penny attended the ceremony to recognize the lasting legacy of some of Elon's best athletes. She says what she learned will inspire her as she goes into a new week of practice.
I think that work hard mentality has been part of what we've been working on in our culture of our program, but I think even more now, just hearing how these successful people have come so far after that, I think we'll really implement that going forward.
Penny and her teammates were supporting former Elon basketball and softball player Allie Ford. She graduated in 2013 and says hard work is what made her successful.
Mine, I think, was a work ethic thing. I don't think it was a ton of natural skill. So, whatever got you here, do the last thing that you were told to do.
2014 graduate Cameron Silverman was inducted into the Hall of Fame for men's tennis. His advice for the current members of the team?
Hard work, repetition, listen to your coaches, just show up every day, practice with a purpose.
Nicholas Kondos was one of the tennis players in the crowd. He says Silverman is a legend.
We would love to be, as successful as Cam. It's obviously very hard, but it's definitely amazing to see what he's done. And it definitely inspires us, especially as we're heading into our fall season.
The other two inductees were Jeannie Hairston-Eason for volleyball and basketball, and Tony Piggott for baseball. The 4 athletes make up the 52nd class of Hall of Fame inductees. Sydney Spencer, Elon Local News.
Hall of Fame inductees must have completed 2 sports seasons at Elon. The nominations are based on athletic ability and character. Athletes are eligible beginning 8 years after their last year of competing under Elon Athletics. Elon football improved to 2-1 on the season over the weekend, taking down Gardner-Webb 30-24. I was on the field and attended the press conference after the game. Here's some of the highlights. Over 8,000 fans packed into Rose Stadium for the first home opener of the season. Elon came out the gate strong, going up 20-3, but 2 costly turnovers in the second quarter had the team down 24-20 at the half. Head coach Tony Trisciani says that the defense was already hungry to get back out to play after the first half.
I knew we had a hungry football team. When we went in at halftime, I couldn't hold those guys in the locker room. They're about running me over to get out and back on the field. They wanted to get back out there and play. They didn't want to talk. We knew what we did in the first half. So came out and shut them out on defense.
The defense struggled in the first half, but senior Torrance Williams told his guys they had to believe in themselves. Williams says that they are a close group on defense and they hold each other accountable.
The thing about our guys, man, we're real close. We hold each other accountable. We love each other. So when things are hitting the fan, we know how to stick together and turn it around. So just like in the halftime, man, we saw that our turnovers and what we were doing were putting us in a bad situation. So we tried to limit that number and turn it around in the second half, and that's what we did.
Trisciani says he is proud of his team and says it's looked impressive through the first 3 games. With Colonial Athletic Association play starting next week, they are looking to come out winning 1 game a week. Trisciani says winning 1 game a week is the mindset they are taking into conference play.
We want to be 1-0 each week, win 1 game a week. So I can't wait to meet tomorrow. Can't wait to prepare for William and Mary on Tuesday. And, CAA is going to be a battle. So 1 game at a time.
Overall, it was redemption for the Phoenix, who lost last year to Gardner-Webb. Elon will travel up to Williamsburg this Saturday to take on William & Mary at 3:30. We'll have live updates from the game on our social media platforms at Elon News Network and at Sports ENN. The game also marked the first home performance of the season for Elon's cheer team. Elon sophomore and cheerleader Caitlin Leeser says the pregame portion of their routine is the most stressful because it's hard to recreate in practice. She says it brings the team together and makes her feel like all of the team's hard work since the summer has paid off.
It was just like a big relief in everyone. You could just feel the energy. And looking up at the crowd and seeing, all of your friends and all of your family being here to support you, and everyone else in the whole school coming out to support, it really means a lot, and it really makes you feel good, and it makes you realize what you do.
The cheerleading team will perform again at the Family Weekend home game on October 1st. The weather is cooler, school is in session, and fall sports are back in swing. But this year, one club sport is tackling a new role here at Elon and taking its spot under the lights. Our Grace Stetler has the story.
Women's Club Rugby was sidelined when COVID-19 took center field in the spring of 2020. Now, the team is back with a new mission in mind: empowering and educating women. Elon Jr. and president of Women's Club Rugby, Caroline Moses, led the team back into action and believes everyone should have the opportunity to try rugby.
I think it's just like any other contact sport, so if you've done that in the past and really enjoyed it, then there's no reason why you shouldn't like rugby.
Moses says she has learned a lot about leadership as president of the team.
Leadership can be really collaborative. It can be kind of whatever you want it to be, but having other people to help you mold that is really, really important.
Moses is leading players like Elon sophomore Ugochi Nkonkwo, who says she always wanted to play, but her previous coaches discouraged her.
I always wanted to play football, but since it was like a men's majority sport, like I knew it would just be odd. My coaches would always tell me if I were a guy, I would be good in football.
Nkonkwo says she put those thoughts aside and now sees herself equal to men.
Women are just as good. Like the women's sports is always underrated. Like it's just how it is, unfortunately. But honestly, just being on the team and just like watching also women's rugby, like there's nothing different between the men and the women.
Moses agrees.
Being able to say that you play rugby and tackle people without pads and it's just like a continuous game can be really empowering, especially for women who have never played before.
Moses says the team will not only work towards winning, but also the lasting sense of empowerment they leave on each woman who laces up and takes the field. Grace Stetler, Elon Local News.
Although games will not kick off until the spring, Women's Club Rugby practices on Tuesdays and Thursday nights down on the intramural fields.
ENN Sports Director Mason Willett, thanks so much for being with us.
We look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you.
Elon Community Church is looking to reach out to students with the help of some furry friends.
You're watching Elon Local News.
Hot dogs, ice cream, and furry friends filled the front yard of the Elon Community Church yesterday for the annual Dog Day Mixer. Senior pastor and Reverend Randy Orwig says the event started as a way to connect students with the Elon and Burlington communities. He wants students to know they are welcomed and appreciated. He says the dogs have been a great way to share that message.
Some years where we've had some students say, you know, I cry myself to sleep. You know, they weren't sure about things, but they came here and it really was kind of really helpful for them. And so we thought that was a great way. Plus, they're not going to come see us, so they're going to come see our dogs. So, so that way everybody knows that we're nice people too, and so it's a nice way to introduce ourselves.
The Humane Society of Alamance County was also there to encourage animal adoption. To see photos of Elon's possum pets, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
That's all the news we have for you this evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Stories, scores, and more, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
And follow us on social media at Elon News Network and Sports ENN.
Have a great evening, Elon.